Alright, so I'm using Screencastify right now, which is a different web tool. It works on the Chromebooks again, so you can use this to screencast, or students can use it to screencast. And again, I've selected the option to have my picture in the bottom right of the screen. You don't need to do that. I'm just showing that you can do it, especially in my case. Just because it can be done doesn't mean it should be done, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about really quickly is the reading material we've put in front of you, and I'm scrolling down here. So first of all, you get a book called the Charlotte Danielson Framework for Teaching. Some of you may be familiar with that. It should look something along these lines. And this really is the basis of our evaluation plan. So I highly recommend you give that book a read. It's a pretty quick read, but it gives you the research and the background, the rationale behind the framework for teaching. I think if you look at the rubrics, there's nothing there that should be particularly surprising. But I want to show you this link here, in addition to the book. Here is our website for evaluation plan. There's lots of stuff there, but if you look here along the left, under rubrics, no matter what position you are, whether you're a teacher or a counselor, you can see the teaching domains. I'm going to collapse these really quickly just to give you a quick overview of the Danielson framework. We're going to spend much more time on this in July, okay? But if you want to kind of get a jump start, take a look at what these are all about, please do. So the Danielson framework for teaching is basically broken up into 4 areas. They break the act or the art of teaching into 4 areas: planning and preparation, classroom environment, instruction, and professional responsibilities. I'm going to open each of them. So those are the domains, but there are subcomponents where they break it down a little further, are a little more specific about what good teaching is. So under planning and preparation, you've got these domains here: knowledge of content, knowledge of students, outcomes, etc. The classroom environment, instruction, and professional responsibilities. You can see the rubrics in Danielson. We've modified a few of them very slightly, but if you want to see, for example, what do we mean by instruction overall, you can click on Domain 3 Instruction and see these are the rubrics. This is a very general rubric about what is distinguished, what is proficient, what is basic, and what is unsatisfactory. If you want to break it down even further, you can click on, well, what does engagement, for example, what do we mean by engagement? What is excellent or distinguished engagement? Proficient, basic, or unsatisfactory? Okay. So again, this is a really brief overview. I'd suggest just reading the book. We'll talk much more about the evaluation plan come July. Now, I've also given you a different book, The 12 Touchstones of Good Teaching, a checklist for staying focused every day. It's a little more, I would say, specific than the Danielson framework itself. There are lots of overlap to it, but what I want to alert you to are the 12 touchstones themselves. The way this book is set up, it's set up as, again, a checklist. This is what you should be kind of focusing on every day, and these are big, broad items as well. The authors break teaching down into, or break the checklist down into 3 big areas. You should be demanding, you should be supportive, and be intentional about your teaching. And then the 12 touchstones, again, are more specific. Similar to Danielson, it's a little bit more specific once you break it down in there. So using standards, ensure students set personal learning objectives, performance expectations, in other words, grading, assessment, measuring and understanding against high expectations, engaging student interest with every lesson, etc., etc. They actually break those down even further, again, similar to Danielson. You kind of go further and further. So under item 1, using standards to guide every learning opportunity, they go into some more specific touchstones. I don't know what to call them. Like if item 1 is a touchstone, these things underneath it are a substone. I don't know. Substandard. I don't know. What I have done, though, is actually try to match these things up. So matching up the 12 touchstones and all of their subcomponents, and kind of try to match them up with Danielson to show you, or to show there's significant overlap there. So unpacking standards to clarify what students must learn, that correlates to knowledge and content and pedagogy. Or ensuring students set long-term goals. Well, in my mind, that's setting instructional outcomes. Okay, there's significant overlap there. So, we will spend much more time in July on this. What I would suggest, if you really wanted to get started, the ones that come up the most, where there's the most overlap, there's a lot of stuff there, and you're probably going, well, how can I focus on all of that stuff? We don't expect you to. If I were going into my first year of teaching or first year of teaching at Leiden, what I would really focus on here, if I'm connecting Danielson to the 12 Touchstones, I would take a look at where there's the most overlap and we think probably is the most important. First of all, assessment, formative, summative assessment, and grading. I've given you some grading links there too. If you want to take a look, that's a whole other conversation. But take a look at your assessment, formative, summative, and grading. Engagement, student engagement, in my mind, is really the key to the whole Danielson framework. Engagement is absolutely crucial because it touches on so many other things. If you're engaging your students, you're doing well on that engagement component, you're going to be doing well on lots of other components as well. Setting instructional objectives and communicating those instructional objectives to students, so I would take a look at those. And then, of course, designing coherent instruction. That's a big topic, of course, as hopefully that makes sense. I've also written a blog post about kind of connecting those touchstones to good teaching and the 12 Touchstones for Good Teaching in Charlotte Danielson. If you really want to dig into it, you can read that blog post if you wish. But I think I'll cut it off there. That's plenty. I'm sure your brains are fully burned out at this point. So thank you for indulging me, and thank you for your attention. So hopefully the day is almost over for you, and I hope that you've had a good couple of days. You've got a lot to think about. So again, welcome to Leiden. We will talk to you soon. If you have any questions about anything, any of the people you've encountered here at Leiden, we are happy to answer any questions at any time. Email, call, please. Do not hesitate to contact us. So with that, I'll cut this off and let you get on your way. Have a great summer.